Ethan lived for the roar of engines. Ever since he was 16, motorcycles weren't just a hobby, they were his identity. The smell of gasoline, the thrill of the wind against his face, the sharp turns of the open road, that was where he felt most alive. And Mia, his girlfriend, accepted this obsession, even though it terrified her. "Promise me you'll be careful," she would whisper whenever he slid on his helmet. "I always am," Ethan would grin, revving the bike. But deep inside, Mia knew he was lying. One rainy evening, Ethan pushed his motorcycle too far. A sudden curve, slick pavement, and blinding headlights were all it took. The crash was devastating. The world went black. When he woke up in the hospital, his body was broken. His legs barely moved. Tubes snaked around him. The doctor's words sliced through him like blades. "You may never walk again." Ethan's life collapsed in that single moment. The man who once felt limitless now felt trapped in a cage of flesh and metal. His anger was volcanic. He shouted at the nurses, cursed his parents, and pushed Mia away every time she tried to comfort him. "You don't get it," he spat one night. "I'm useless now. What kind of man can't even stand on his own feet?" "You're still you, Ethan," she whispered, holding back tears. "I don't love you because of your legs. I love you because you're you." "Then you're a fool," he growled, turning his face to the wall. But the truth was more tragic than he knew. Ethan's internal injuries were worse than expected. His kidneys were failing. Without a transplant, he wouldn't survive. That night, while he slept, Mia made the most painful decision of her life. She underwent tests, surgeries, endless paperwork. She was a match. Without hesitation, she offered her kidney. When Ethan woke days later, alive but fragile, the doctors told him the truth. "She saved you," the surgeon said softly. "She gave you part of herself so you could live." Ethan looked at Mia, pale and weak in the bed next to his. He wanted to thank her, to weep, to fall into her arms, but instead, bitterness filled his chest. She had saved him, yes, but she had also chained him to a life he didn't want anymore. He was still scarred, still weak, still broken. Months passed. With therapy, his body began to recover. Against all odds, Ethan learned to walk again. Each painful step was a victory. And when he finally stood tall, without crutches, people celebrated. Mia, still healing herself, smiled through her pain. She thought their love had triumphed. But Ethan had changed. Freedom returned to him, but so did pride, arrogance, and his hunger for the road. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, he told Mia the words that shattered her world. "I can't do this anymore," he said coldly. She froze. What do you mean?" "I don't love you the way I used to," Ethan muttered, looking away. "I gave you everything, but I can't live in the shadow of your sacrifice. I feel trapped. I want to start over." Her voice cracked. "I gave you my body so you could live, Ethan. I gave you my future. And I'm grateful, but I didn't ask for it." He walked away, leaving her in silence, her tears staining the floor. Mia never asked for thanks. She only wanted his love. But sometimes love is crueler than death. Ethan had been saved, yet in saving him, Mia had lost the one thing she cherished most, his heart. And Ethan? He climbed back onto another motorcycle, the engine roaring beneath him, chasing freedom once more, never realizing that the greatest ride of his life had already been the love he abandoned.